Hey, you guys, welcome back. It is Wednesday. It is 2:30 Eastern and 11:30 Pacific. Is that right? We're catching
Correct.
Henry before lunch. And we are doing another personal branding Q&A. And really what we do on these is we answer your questions that you have, and then also just stuff that has come up for us in our periphery
Yeah.
during the week. Just like we've got a fun one for you today. Henry was like, "Hey, do you want to talk about this?" And I'm like, "Who?" And then I went down a rabbit hole, and so we had a lot of fun with that. But we've got a few topics on deck. I'll just say what they are. If you guys have questions around them, go ahead and shout out. One is going to be a mystery because it's the one I just talked about, so we'll open that loop. Second one, we're going to talk about just websites, y'all. Like it's just we're gonna do that, and then third, differentiating yourself. So making sure that you have market differentiation. And yeah, so Henry, let's open it up. Let's close the loop, the Kumar loop. Let's close the Kumar
Okay.
loop.
We'll hop right into there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was obviously my work revolves around being on social media a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and primarily, looking at my clients and seeing what's performing for them and then looking at their competitors. And as I was on the platforms over this last week, only a week, there's a name that's been popping up like crazy, and that's Kumar. And this is and you found some additional information that is really interesting that I
Hmm.
didn't see that behind the scenes part. But we talked about the algorithm a little while ago, probably on the first episode of these lives, and how you have with every piece of content you put out there, you have an opportunity to reach the masses.
Right.
And it's an anomaly. It's not likely that every time you do this, you're going to go viral. That's
Hmm.
why it's viral. But there's always that chance. And this guy hit that chance of that virality. And so he's if you look up the Kumar method, he's an Indian gentleman who's, according to you, posing as an accountant. But what's fun is the brand that they're positioning online is this Indian accountant who is also being edited and positioned in this super hyped up, energetic editing style.
Yeah.
And it's this contrast of personalities that is making it so fun to watch, and it's sucking people in like crazy. So in
Yes.
just 6 posts, I think, and 7 days, he's already amounted 1 million followers on
Yeah.
Instagram. And
And
so
hasn't taught anything yet.
has
He
not
all
nothing.
he keeps saying is, "I'm an accountant. I'm gonna take all you basically you dude bros jobs." Like they give him they inject him with this swagger, and
Yes.
then the editing is so like cinematic. It's very dark, very just like very cinematic editing, and then it cuts to like real life, him and his wife, or his what wife,
Yeah.
um at his desk, and she's like, and this is the best part to me is, "Please follow my husband and help him get to his dreams and or achieve his dreams," like that sort of thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Girl, I will follow your husband for you," like, but it's like it's it's that high contrast. That's it. They hit
Yeah.
a high contrast note for sure. But just so you guys know, like what Henry and I had this text conversation. What was it, like an hour and a half ago? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was like, "This guy's really interesting," and as a media positioning thing, it's crushing it, and all the
Yeah.
attention is getting pulled over there. I'm curious to see where it goes, but you uncovered something else that I did not know.
Yeah. Well, I get like whenever I see stuff like that, I just get curious. I'm just like innately curious, like, "Oh, well, who is he? Tell me more about him." He hasn't said anything yet on the channel. And so, like, what does he do? Like, who does he work at? Because listen, this is the guy's profile. when you look at his actual profile, it says changing the accounting game, okay? Excel certified. He leads with Excel certified, and I'm like, "What?" And then married, and then inevitable. Okay. Those are the three things. And I'm like, this dude can't only be Excel certified and then like is going to change the game. Like, how many Excel certificate that like when I saw that, I'm like, wait, hang on, what is going on here? And so then I started digging as I do, and I found out that he's a paid actor. And so what this media company is doing, which is just brilliant for any agency or media company, what do people want you to prove to them if they are going to have you work for them? They want you to prove that you can do what you say you can do. And so what this media company is doing is they are creating this, or they created this account, and they basically hired him as an actor. And so but it still doesn't, it's not taking away from the fact that it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But also we should note, okay, so let me just, I feel like the disclaimer has to happen because people get shiny objects and everybody's going to be like, I'm freaking Kumar.
Yeah.
I'm editing like Kumar tomorrow. Like, people are already doing it, right? There's already AI stuff like on Hey Gen to edit to look like Kumar. And I'm like, listen, everybody's going to have black, white, and red and dark, moody stuff here before long. And we're all going to be like, oh my gosh, Kumar, please stop. So the caveat that I want to say here real quick is this is only really hitting with certain age groups. And the age group is like younger men is who it's really hitting with. So in case my moms and ladies are watching, don't go editing like Kumar and thinking like, I'm going to have 1 million, followers within a week. They're not necessarily following for accounting advice. And read the comments. Go ahead, Henry.
That's actually a super good point. I'm not sure if we have mentioned this at all yet or not, but I've had videos that have gone viral, and I've actually deleted them because they were just bringing in too many irrelevant followers. And so that's what you have to think about is like, is this going to bring in the people that you actually want? And, first and foremost, I'm out here, I'm a personal branding expert and a nerd in this stuff. So that's what I do. And I help entrepreneurs with that.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I love racing motorcycles and going mountain biking and doing stupid stuff. And so here and there, I post that. And I've posted that in the past. And some of those videos have gone viral. And all of a sudden, I'm getting all of these followers from mountain biking niches or other things. And it's just not relevant. And so I've had to actually spend time as that post is out there, deleting followers as they come in, and then even just deleting the post. Or in some cases, some platforms, you're allowed to do it where it's like showing to friends only. And I've done that instead so that it builds that personal bridge with my existing audience, but I'm not bringing people in for the wrong reason. And so, like you said, Kumar's done an incredible job of making a piece of content that is really fun. It's very well edited, very well scripted. The angle on it is just wonderful. And the contrast of character traits is brilliant. So big kudos on creating an excellent piece of media.
Yeah.
But if you are an accountant and you're trying to generate business, I'm sure it could. Absolutely. Like, you've got such a wide net, you can start to filter. But is that initial audience going to stick with you as you do that? Probably not. So just be wary of the kind of views that you want to generate. It can be, like you said, shiny object syndrome. It can be appealing to go for the viral trend and to get big views.
Yeah.
It feels fulfilling, like we've got this social validation, but does it contribute to the overall mission of what you're working towards?
Right. 100%. That's the thing that we always need to think about is does this content, A, does it serve my person? And then B, does it attract the right people? There's those are backwards. A and B were backwards. But there's a strategy, I guess, that I do on my own account where there are memes, and I'll get like millions of views on those meme videos, and then, a lot of follows and stuff like that. And it's just kind of like, it's some of the follows are relevant and some of them aren't, because the memes that I'm choosing are relevant to my people. But
Mhm.
memes as a whole, you know, they could be relevant to my people, hyper specific relevant to my people, but memes as a whole, other people still pop into that. And so I still end up like, I'll see, 25 to 35 as a huge demo in like the followers, and I'm like, okay, those aren't my people necessarily. Great people, but they're not my people. And
Right.
I pulled them in from memes. And so that's the thing I want to say on the back end of that is, um also be okay whenever people self sort out. So I
Mhm.
think that there's something, I know people with ADHD, because this is in this one, um, have this, but it's called, oh my gosh, rejection sensitivity. And it is whenever you feel rejected, you feel it on a cellular level, like it levels you when someone says no, or even a look on their face, like they're rejecting you, and all of a sudden you take it all the way to the nth, because you're like, okay, well, you hate me, and I'm just gonna leave now. Like, let me just leave, right? Like, there's a whole weird thing that happens in there. It is so real. And can I just say, most people with ADHD are also entrepreneurs, because we think different. We kind of need to have a different kind of life. Usually there's autism or an ADHD spectrum, something going on in there. And for us to also have rejection sensitivity and have to deal with things like people coming off of email lists and people unfollowing, like, for us to deal with that on a daily basis is existential crisis. Like, it feels like an actual crisis on a daily basis. And so the only reason I am saying all of that, let's circle back. The only reason I'm saying all of that is, as you're growing your business, you're also going to have people sloughing off on a daily basis, and don't take it to heart, because a lot of people just naturally do take it to heart. So don't think there's something wrong with your business. There's something wrong with you. The more narrowed in and focused in that you get, the more sloughing off happens. And we love that kind of self sorting. We love that kind of just, sift, sort, keep moving. That means that your list is getting cleaner and cleaner. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
had to go on a side tangent.
I wish that social media platforms had sunset policies built in. We have it with email marketing, where if someone doesn't engage with your emails for 90 days or 6 months or whatever it is, then
Yeah.
it just automatically closes them off and you're not sending them emails anymore, because it hurts your reputation, your domain score,
Yep.
and how these email providers view you is that you're not worthy of their attention. But they've just, they've self-sorted. Their attention's gone somewhere else, and that's fine. And that's why we have that policy in place, so that we're only engaging with people who are actually interested. And I wish we had that kind of feature on social media, because there's definitely people who they feel uncomfortable to unfollow. They see that as like might hurt your feelings or create tension between us.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's perfectly okay. And I really would love that kind of feature, because the platforms are looking for the averages of, how well your audience is performing with your content. It does go well
Yes.
outside of your audience as well, but it wants to see that most people like what you're putting out, and it looks at those average results. And
Mhm.
so I would much rather we clean our lists, have smaller followings, but more engaged ones where we can actually have higher performance on average with the kind of engagement that we're generating between us.
Yeah.
And I think that would be better. And there's actually a lot of older creators who, when the algorithm rewarded you for gaining followers, that was kind of how you knew you were going to get reach. They are now kind of trying to figure out how to clean up their list and have a smaller following
Yeah.
because their following's not as interested anymore. They've moved to something else, and so their average performance looks worse. And there's smaller channels doing better than they are. So I would
Yeah.
love, don't, back to your point, try not to feel bad about anyone unfollowing you. It's actually a really good thing, and I wish more people would be okay with
Mhm.
unfollowing each other.
Yeah. Somebody needs to send this to Adam Mosseri. Somebody needs
Yeah,
to send this conversation, just tag him in.
we're gonna
Um,
tag him in this.
it literally would be the most amazing thing because the we know as the algorithm works, the very first thing that it does is it sends to, you know, sections, right? And the
Mhm.
first section that it sends to, that it tests, is the people closest to you. So like your friends, your followers, it's going to test your content in that circle first. And so
Yeah.
if you have a really big following of people that frankly don't give a rip, then everything bombs in that circle. And almost like a piece of advice for them would be, create a new flipping account and tell your people to go over to the new account. And then the new people that are watching will move to the new account, and you can actually start growing again because you will dud every go because you don't have
Mhm.
the opportunity to do anything else, you know?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never told somebody to create a new account before, but I think that would be,
It could well be, and especially
yeah,
if you're changing gears on what
yeah,
your career focus is, um, then that might be a helpful thing. And
yeah.
even right now, there's someone I'm working with on their YouTube channel, and the following that they've amassed over the recent years is they're not as deeply interested in the stuff that he's talking about now. And
Uh-huh.
so we're very aware of looking at the stats of engagement for followers versus of his followers versus the new audience of non-followers. And we see that the non-followers, they perform better. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of this game right now where we're just being patient of putting out content that continues to serve and perform with those non-followers. And we're hoping that that signal starts to kind of show YouTube like this is the pocket that we're going into. And
Yeah.
already the performance is getting better and better.
Good.
But that is a hurdle that we're jumping over because there's this following that we have to work through because,
Yeah.
like you said, these platforms tend to test your following first
Yep.
before it proves outside of that. So that is a thing. Like if you've got a big audience and they are just not interested in this new direction, it really depends how much of a new direction you're going. A new account might be the quickest way to get that up and going. Uh,
Yeah.
but otherwise, just know that you're going to be trying to filter through, and maybe you can even um, be quite direct on this is what we're doing. If this isn't what you want from us anymore, no harm, no foul. Unfollow. I'm not going to take it personally, but this is the
Yeah.
direction you're going. And if you want to come with me, stay on board. And
Yes.
that could help steer the ship a bit. But that is a
Yeah.
very real thing of if you accumulate a bunch of followers through a trending post that has nothing to do with what your business is about, that can hurt you.
Mhm. Yeah. That's what I call that uh calling out the elephant, right? This is
Yeah.
like, okay guys, here's where I'm going, here's what's going on, here's why, even give them a why. And then totally cool if you want to leave. Again, not going to hurt my feelings, but like this is what we're going to be doing in here. I suggest doing that in whenever people run Facebook groups as well, because when you switch gears in there, they're like, wait, I'm in this room of a house and now it looks completely different. And I don't know why I'm in this room anymore. Have you ever been at like a party in high school or college and you're like, you're sitting on the couch and you're like, what am I doing here right now? And so like, I feel like people feel like that in a Facebook group that has switched gears, or it's like, hey, you can leave if you want. And everybody's like, thank you. I would like to. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I've always been pretty good at leaving. As you know, my introverted character, I didn't actually go to this is a totally just off topic personal side of things. I didn't go to a high school party, I don't think, until either the end of junior or some point in senior year. And when I went, I walked around for a bit and I was like, this is not my thing. And I got in my car and I left. And I was like, there we
That's
go.
it.
I'm done with high school parties.
Like nope, this ain't for me. Ain't for me.
No,
Do we
I've always
want to
been
go
good at
into do we want to talk about differentiating, and you guys tell us what you want to talk about too. Do you want to talk about differentiating yourself in the market? Like you understand what that means,
yeah,
or do you want to talk about websites?
I'm just looking through some of the comments to see what we've got on here. We've got Peter. Hey, Peter, it's good to see you. I haven't heard from you in so long. New career in aging years for pickleball.
Oh my gosh.
Pickleball focused on seniors and now the first ambassador for DUPR to engage seniors for quality of life.
Oh, I
So
love.
what I love is that's super specific.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the previous years of, what you've been sharing on social media has been, and how relevant your existing audience is. But even with how popular pickleball is, you probably have a great opportunity to start a fresh channel with that and build more momentum on that direction. That could be a perfect instance of like, let's just get a new channel going. But
Yeah.
yeah, pickleball's the best. I've never liked tennis because it's way too exhausting and I'm really bad at it.
Oh,
But then pickleball doesn't require quite as much physical exertion of running from side to side, and I love it. It's like a adult version of ping pong,
yeah.
or I could well have offended a bunch of enthusiast pickleballers here,
Well,
but I love
this will be
playing.
the self-sorting. It'll be
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Like, how dare you call it adult ping pong?
adult ping pong. Oh, Lori, question. I put my effort towards social media, but it's not something that comes naturally. I don't think it comes naturally to a lot of people. What are your thoughts around this? I think you've got two introverts on here right now. So for to say social doesn't come natural, we're like us either. We don't leave our house except to go almost kill himself on motorcycles or dirt bikes. What are your thoughts around this and building a brand outside of social media? Henry, do you want to take it first and then I'll clean
Sure.
up?
I think introverts can make some of the best brands and communicators because the people who you would say it comes natural to and they love the sound of their own voice, they oftentimes don't think about what's the point? Why am I talking? Why am I showing up? And as introverts, there's got to be a reason, there's purpose behind what you do, more than just hearing the sound of your own voice. So oftentimes you put more thought into why you're showing up, and that creates more impact with those on the receiving end of what you're putting out there. So I think, like you as an introvert, I think that actually is going to be an advantage of yours because you're going to ask, what's the point of me getting on camera? What message am I trying to deliver? What impact am I trying to create? Who am I talking to? And those are questions that the extrovert doesn't typically ask of themselves. So
Yeah.
one, I think it's an advantage for showing up. To building a brand outside of social media. We had spoke on last week about talking about AI to the extent of what if AI was to get to the point where the clones we are just indistinguishable from real people, and you have no idea if what you're seeing online is real. That was when I said in-person gatherings and having events or just hosting local get-togethers and using that as an advantage to stand out and still build your brand when AI is making it more and more difficult. So I definitely think that you can utilize attention that you're building now to build more offline in-person gatherings, and that's going to be a really strong asset to maintain your brand, especially if we start to doubt the media that we see.
Yeah, I agree. I see my internet is having a good time. I see that my face froze for a second in the funniest look. I looked at myself. Wait, there's nothing more like surrendered feeling in your life than looking at your watching a video of you frozen and you're like, I can't do anything. Here I am. Hopefully it works out. So yeah, and all of that to say in person is great. You don't tend to freeze up like that live and in person. But
Unless you're a big introvert
unless
and you've lost your words, like, oh God, people are staring at me. I've done that.
menopausal and introvertish both make you lose your words. That is so funny. But growing on or offline is really just it's all the same stuff. It's just different vehicles for the stuff, right? So it's all just you building relationships. It's just on social media. The way that we build relationships is we treat it as a one-to-one. So you treat it like you're texting a friend. That's how I handle like the posting and that sort of thing. But it really, in actuality, is one to many, right? It'll feel one-to-one to everyone, but it's a one-to-many scenario. But when you're in, you're live in person with somebody, it's the same exact thing. It's just, I think maybe the trick for you, Lori, is to think, what are the conversations I have in public that I love? Right? What are the conversations I love having in public, and bring them on social? Just think, what are the things that we talked about? What are some things that I really love that people, I wish people knew that I knew, or knew that I thought, or things that matter to me. And maybe that's the trick, to be able to use them in unison, because when we use them in unison, obviously you kind of like explode results. But yeah, they're kind of the same thing. It's just how we think about it.
Yeah. Find your format. And, this also comes back to what we were talking about on differentiating yourself. And the brand that I'm most known for building was my dad's brand. And he had a big, one of his things was he was very particular about old-fashioned cocktails. He loved an old-fashioned. That was his go-to drink. If we went out to dinner and someone had like a bunch of ice in his old-fashioned versus a single block cube, he'd be like, no, take that back and do it properly with a block of ice. And it became a joke as to how particular he was, but that was something people knew about him. And so when COVID came and killed the ability for all of us to meet in person and go out, we started hosting weekly live happy hours. And all it was show up, we like grab a drink. Obviously for him, it was an old fashioned. And as we started those happy hours, he would actually make it on the call and kind of tell you what a good old fashioned consisted of. And that way everyone was kind of on board with this thing of his. But then we would just spend the next hour telling jokes and just hanging out. And that was one of the easiest ways. Yeah, Peter was on those. Actually, Peter, you had a ton of jokes. We could almost always rely on Peter to have a joke on those calls. But that was a format in which we were able to lean into something that was uniquely him and show up and make content and connect with your audience in a very natural manner that also was different than what a lot of other people were doing. We started to see a lot of people popping up with happy hours after that, and they saw how much fun we were having. But that's a way in which you can start to think like, what do I enjoy? What do I do on a regular basis? Where do I like to be? And then create your format around that. And so that could be a way of where social media doesn't come naturally to you. Yes, it will develop. You'll get stronger with that skill, but just think about, what are the things that I enjoy? What are regular parts of my life? Where do I like to be? And then create your content around that. And so like even this 11:30 on a Wednesday, but about between 10:30 to 12, that has almost always been the time in which I enjoy making a cappuccino and chilling. And so when we were like, well, what's a good time to do this? I thought, well, if we're having a live stream, 11:30 sounds great, because this is going to be the time in which I'm going to make my coffee and kick back anyway. So we may as well just hang out while I do that and make the content. So that's a way of us being able to look at incorporating content into what we're already doing.
Yeah, that's
By
good.
doing that, you do differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I love that. That's very, very good. So let's go. Okay, so did anybody else have any questions?
Well, Michelle put in there that she spends 50% of her time on the couch and 50% in the pool or paddleboard. That's cool. I suck at paddleboarding, my goodness. Or maybe I was just on too small of one, but my God, I could not keep that thing from shaking all over the place. Everything bounced me off of it. But that the point of the couch thing there, that's awesome. One of my favorite clients I've ever worked with, she was in the financial space, and everyone tells you in that space you got to be really professional and whatnot, but she spends most of the time on her couch too with her dogs, and that's where she does her work. And we were like, lean into that. So she kind of redid her podcasting setup to be more like that, just hanging out on the couch or in the armchair and recording her content there with the dogs. And that stands out. So you can totally do that. And there's tons of podcasts that we've seen where there's a little boom arm that comes over the couch and you're just hanging out recording content. It's a great format.
I think it's the best. Andrea's talking about working and making content during nap time. That's what people want to see. That's what they're comfortable seeing. So we started off with let's circle back, because we started off with the Kumar of it all, which is heavily produced, very, very produced. And then the beauty of the contrast was then it was not, right? Mm-hmm. And it would have been maybe even better had they pushed that not into him sitting on the couch with his dog, with the clicker in his hand, right? It would have pushed it just even a little smidgen more like that, the pendulum swinging, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, people want to feel comfortable as they're watching people. And it's just, we've moved into a different era. There was the era about 10, and we'll get a slider scale of it. So, 5 to 15 years ago. So that 10-year space there where everybody was pretending. They were all pretending to have all of these things. They were pretending to be all of these things. It was all over polished, almost where it was, I think that people thought other people needed to see them in this, like in their perfection. They felt like they
Yeah.
needed to be perfect. And what we've swung back to, thank God, what we've swung back to, because now I get to play again, right? What we've swung back to is like, let's just be so gritty and so real and so like just trustworthy because we're so human in it all.
Yeah.
Because with the introduction of AI, kind of like what we talked about last week, whenever that got introduced, now anybody literally can be anything. So in the Catch Me If You Can, that was like one of my favorite movies. That movie, he pretended to be all sorts of different things. Imagine if he had AI, right? I mean, like he would have been really some stuff, right? But now we live in a space where it's the gritty and the real that people respect and people appreciate and people want to connect with. And
Mhm.
and to ignore that, or to ignore that would be just falling on your face. It would be tripping over your shoelaces to absolutely ignore that that's what people want, because they will just keep scrolling until they
Mhm.
find somebody that is doing it for them.
Yeah. That's why there's a popular format going around right now that they've called Yap. And it's just talking to the camera with really not any kind of editing, nothing fancy, not a polished script. And I'm seeing so many creators that are leaning into that. And it speaks to that point where you're saying of like, it feels real.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel fake. And so that is something that we can see just by the trending of that format of content that people want more of it. And
Yeah.
so it might seem boring, but sometimes we kind of want boring. Like
Yeah.
I've I'm kind of that character in which I've always liked more of just that kind of calmer, real energy. If I've gone to events and there's been like a really loud, energetic type speaker, a hoorah person on stage, it tends to exhaust me. So I like that kind of more boring, we'll say, personality type because I feel like I'm just there matching that energy and getting what I
Yeah.
need out of it. So we all need some boring in our life.
Yeah. Yes. And even like if somebody's, watching right now and they're like, "Okay, I think I can do boring. I think I can do that." My suggestion is to start doing it in your stories first, because then you'll get feedback from the people who love you most, because they're seeing your stories. So you'll get the feedback and then you'll gather the confidence, the strength to be able to actually start doing it in other places as well. But start it in your stories so you can get some feedback from
Mhm.
people. And the biggest thing with folks whenever they start, yapping or talking on social or whatever, is that they're like, nobody cares what I have to say, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do I have to say? Or, how many ums and uhs can I possibly get into this video? I swear, every time I do a video, it's like my brain filters to only hear and and I'm like,
Yeah.
Martha, you said it, I'm pretty sure 40 times, and I'm trying to get better at it. But that's the thing, that whenever you start doing it in stories, you'll get feedback from people like, "Oh, that's awesome," or they're just responding to what you're saying.
Mhm.
And pay attention to that, because that's the whole point, is that
Mhm.
your people are responding. My dogs are barking. I don't think you can hear them though.
No.
There's
No, because
that.
now you got your snazzy mic working.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Love it.
I love the stories tip. That's something that I've said for a while is if you're just starting content and you feel uncomfortable because it feels like there has to be this pressure, or it feels like when you post something to the feed that it's there forever and people are going to be watching it and all. No, they're not. But at least with a story, 24 hours and it's gone. So
Yeah.
it's a nice, and also we don't expect as polished in stories either. We
Right.
usually expect it to be more behind the scenes and more casual. So you've already got a lower temperature of expectations with stories. So that is a fantastic place to start chatting and to start testing out being on camera. And then you can post it to your feed. But even still, it's people are going to love you. People are going to hate you no matter what you say or do. So just put it out there. And also in months down the road, when you look at your content, you're probably going to hate it and think it was so bad anyway. So you may as well start. And I actually, there's been videos where I've thought, oh my gosh, should I delete it? Because I'm just like, wow, I was really, really bad on camera. And I haven't noticed how much better I've gotten, but I kind of like looking back as well and seeing that progression, because that also kind of motivates you to keep going. And
Yeah.
it's a bit of a muscle that you're developing. So I think it's also good to be able to look back and see those old videos. Mr. Beast talks about it all the time, how he'll even look back just 6 months and go, oh my gosh, we made that. That was our thumbnail. That was our video. We could have done so much better. And that's one of the best creators in the world.
Yeah.
So we all get better. So why not just enjoy looking back and seeing how much better you've gotten?
I love that. And to even make it not, we'll throw that comment up, put all the lights around it. So, something else that I just want to piggyback on a little bit is, you said you were, about the video, you're like, oh, should I delete that? I've also felt that way about different like posts, even written posts, you know. You
Mhm.
know how you post something and right away the algorithm doesn't grab onto it, and like not that many people see it right away, and you're like, do I just delete it,
Mhm.
or do I cuz ultimately the algorithm will grab onto it, but do I just delete it right now in the interim? Or was it bad? Like, did I not realize like how stupid that was? I've had those moments, and then I leave them on anyway. I leave the post on anyway. Those have been some of my best posts ever, that they do really, really well. So that is what I want for you guys that are watching right now to think about also, because it's very easy to make posts where maybe you feel a tiny bit exposed, maybe you feel like you're really like you're touching on something, you're touching on a nerve, um and as soon as you post it, you're like, oh shoot, should I
Yeah.
delete this? Like, is this the end of the world as I know it? And then and nobody's responding. So you've got this super vulnerable post out there, nobody's responding, and you're like, okay, it's like I'm starting to sweat. And then all of a sudden, just like a tsunami, everything comes in, and it's like, oh, okay, there it is. So all
Mhm.
of that to say, you'll have those feelings after even just written posts. Leave
Yeah.
that stuff, leave it, let it prove growth.
Yeah. And I think that the back end, it actually supports where we're kind of moving digitally as well. Um, if AI is progressing so quickly, in which it's just constantly scouring the internet,
Hmm.
and then we're getting these wearable devices like the Meta glasses and other things that kind of do things, and Alexa's, where it's just voice commands and it goes out and you can ask it to go buy you your groceries, or hey, I need a new dock for my computer. Can you just go buy me the best one? And so you're not even looking at that stuff. The information is being captured by AI. And so
Hmm.
I think it actually right now is beneficial to have a volume of content on the internet that is constantly speaking to your expertise and that AI can pull from to recommend to people, especially if they're not even going to see your stuff. Like it might
Yeah.
just resurface. And there's the way that these algorithms are working now, specific things resurface out of nowhere because it's what people are searching for, this niche thing that has an exact answer. AI is retrieving it and delivering it. And so that's why I look at what you're doing by posting content as individual assets that
Mhm.
each of them stack the odds in your favor. And I've seen plenty of YouTube videos. YouTube's probably the most evergreen platform, at least right now. Uh,
Mhm.
but I've seen plenty of videos where you post it and it looks like it's a total flop, does nothing. And then 6 months later, it just goes whoop and takes off and becomes a viral video. But everyone expects that to be like an immediate thing. But
Mhm.
these platforms, when they see that there's a need for something, they can go and dig into the information of what they have and surface it. So I think it's good to keep that content and not delete it just because it has no views on it. It can resurface. And I started my own YouTube channel just a month ago. And it was funny because I posted my first video and I was already like, this could have 0 views. Just totally could. It's probably the most likely scenario is that it has 0 views. And the next day, a friend of mine who knew I was starting my channel, they're like, "So how many views has it got?" Like, 0. And she's like, "Oh my god, what are you gonna do?" I was like, "Nothing. I'll leave it." Like, the platform has to figure out kind of what I'm posting and be able to understand that before it takes the risk of recommending it to people. So I
Yeah.
have to kind of prove myself to the platform that, "Hey, I'm here. This is what I'm talking about. Here's the person that it's for." And then it'll start to surface. And so it right off the bat, it was not giving any push whatsoever. So I couldn't even make a judgment that the content's bad. But now it's starting to seed it just a little bit more. And so that little bit more of it pushing it is all I need to know that I'm in the right direction. And other channels that I've worked with have done the exact same thing. And who knows, in 6 months' time, one of those videos could take off and resurface. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think right now the main thing is repetition of just constantly keep putting out these assets that people can discover, that these AI engines can pull from, and that
Mhm.
is going to help you build this digital base that is an asset to you being found at some point
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah, I just love let me hang on the word asset for a second. I
Mhm.
just love you using the term asset because it's we so easily call it like, oh, I just recorded a video or I just did a video or meh. It's like the thing that, I checked the box today of doing the thing. When in reality, when done properly, it is an asset. It is something that is searchable over time. We know Google and YouTube, they're together, right? Like it's the same, the search engines, it's the same. It's the long game, right? It's you are putting a book in the library for somebody to be able to grab later, right? Like that's essentially what it is. And that is a long game. It can be a short game too, but regardless, short or long game, it is an asset. And so now let's kind of dig into this, if you don't mind. I know we have 12 minutes, but
Yeah.
I would love to dig into okay, if we're making a video an asset, which 100% agree, 100% agree it needs to be, then the asset needs to do something too. So there's what you're doing in the video, whether it's training or just warming people up or letting them know like that you have an authority in this space or whatever it is that you're doing in the video in order to be a really good asset. I'm just wondering if you agree here is there needs to be breadcrumbs to the next thing, right? Like it needs to have some sort of like directive
Mhm.
of, okay, so here's this piece of gold that you have. Do you know that there's more over here? Or do to be able to have everything interconnect like the web that assets really should be, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Mhm. I'm kind of playing with it both ways.
Okay.
So I'm always looking at retention curves on pieces of content, and there have been plenty of instances in which I've seen that on particular channels, when you promote something in the middle of the video, that there's a steep drop off in retention, like people bail
Yeah.
out. Then there's other times where they don't, and they're actually happy that you've done it. So it's kind of like an alignment of what you're giving them, what that next thing is, and have you delivered up until that point. And
Hmm.
so I think one, the market is much more sophisticated to how to look someone up and how to see what they have to offer. If we see a piece of content on Instagram we really like, and we know we could probably go to their profile and click on their link and see
Right.
what's next.
If they
Um,
have it set up like that. Exactly.
right.
This is
Yeah.
also what I'm talking about with the assets connecting. Like,
Yeah.
are there roads? Do we have
Right.
all roads leading to Rome, so to speak?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, on that very basic point, then yes, if you're gonna have social media profiles and you're trying to generate business out of the attention that you're capturing, then all of your profiles should basically have the exact same language of kind of who you serve and like what you kind of offer, and then or the promise that you deliver upon that audience, and then a link or a call to action to go to that next step. So that call to action, it can be in your bio or it can be in the content itself. DMs and call to actions are super popular at the moment, and it also adds engagement to your posts, so that is also a good thing. But having the same messaging across all of the platforms and like the same CTA, so that you're constantly directing all attention, no matter where it's coming from, to the same place is, that's always step one of what I do. And it actually, you'd be surprised, having the same bio in all of your profiles across all of these major mediums will actually help your search authority on Google. And I've had that with clients where we're trying to kind of build their ranking and their authority and how Google sees them. And just by having the same bio across all of their platforms of who they are has actually allowed us to improve how they're showing up on Google. So it serves your audience, but it also serves this AI engine that we're talking about of
Yeah.
proving you are who you say you are over and over and over again against all these platforms. So yeah, definitely have the same language, have the same call to action, and make sure that that next step is easily available, whether you announce it in your content or on your bios.
Yeah. And I love that you said like have the 10-minute mark and trying to like offer something at the 10-minute mark. I think it just needs to be like super value forward, almost even to the very end. And then I have sort of like this thing that I do where it's an oh by the way. So any sort of sales,
Mhm.
anything that I do is an oh by the way. And so it's like, so now you know how to do X, Y, and Z. By the way, if you want to check out this, links below, or have it on an end screen or something like that. Um, but it's just so it's not the main show, and service is the main show, and then the selling just kind of happens. And frankly, like a ton of my selling doesn't even happen in public. Like most people, like people in my family and stuff, they're like, we don't even know what you do. And I'm like, I know that's most of my stuff happens behind the curtain, like behind the you don't know. Um,
Mhm.
but it's like it's the serving in public and the selling in private. And so like the serving is, we talked about it with lead magnets last week, right? So it's just a give, give, give. And then behind the curtain in your email marketing is where the offers actually happen. And they can happen. There's two different engines for email, in my opinion. We don't have to get all into email right now. Literally 6 minutes left. Not a great time to open up the email can of worms. But one of them is automated and always running, and the other one is not. And so having both of them run at the same time is perfection. But um
Mhm.
But yeah, what do you want to say as like the last thing? I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you want the last thing to be
The
that we
last
leave
words
folks
out
with
of my
today?
mouth ever. No,
Ever.
yeah. Um, I'll just add to Michelle was saying here that if a sales pitch shows up in the first 10 minutes or like 5 to 10 minutes in, that she's out. And I'm okay with it at the end. So it's kind of everything is testing. Okay. Everything basically in marketing has worked for someone. And so you just kind of need to test it all and see what works for you. But the problem with at the end is most people know the end is coming and tune out. So when you have a call to action at the end, now if it's a 30-second Instagram reel, different story. But if you're making a 20-minute YouTube video, then most people don't make it to the end. There's a lot of drop off. At least 20 to 30% is what you'll see of drop off. But if you have something in the middle of the video and you're delivering in that video, people still want to stick around. So your odds of them seeing how to engage and move forward are way higher than if you put it at the very end, because people are invested in still watching what's to come on that video. But that's why I think it's kind of like a blend of what you just said, Martha, where you're not giving a sales pitch in the middle, you're giving an aside. You're just going, oh, and by the way, if you want more on this, just click the link in the description and then you keep going. You've hardly stole any of their time, but you've just seeded it. So that's what you kind of need to think of. Like, don't insert a sales pitch, seed the next step and keep going. But I wouldn't put that at the end, usually, because very few people stick around to the end. Just seed it in your content and make it a very natural next step or a natural opportunity if they want to move forward, and then keep delivering with your content. But yeah, when you put something at the end, the odds are someone's not going to see it. And so the odds are that attention isn't going to be converted into anything.
Yeah. There'd be a really good one, just as you were talking, there'd be a really good opportunity to, like, if you're training on something or you're teaching somebody how to do something,
Mhm.
to create a tool for it, let it be the lead magnet. As you're teaching it, you're showing the tool, and just be like, grab the tool below, there's the link. Now they're on your email list, let the email list do the let that do the thing. So
Yeah.
that's, you're teaching a thing, grab the tool, it's right there. And now I mean, it's perfection in my
Mhm.
opinion, but
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So that's
Oh,
my final words.
okay. Well, those are
Thank you,
Michelle's
Michelle.
final words, that we're geniuses, Henry, and we'll take it. We'll
Hell yeah.
take it. So, um, well, it was fun hanging out with you guys again this week. Let us know in the in between. We don't get a lot of feedback. Voice gets real high. We don't get a lot of feedback in the in between. Do tell us, just like message one of us and be like, hey, I want to hear about X, Y, and Z. You're not, we are here for you. We'll just talk about whatever. We'll talk about Kumar, whatever. But if you have something you want to talk about, that's really what we want to get into. Um, so yeah, you all have the best rest of your week, and we will see. Oh, Peter said very cool. We got a very cool from Peter.
Good to see you, Peter.
Yeah. And thank you, Lori. Everybody, you have the best week, and we will see you next week.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.